we are part of the struggle to secure the assent of the President on the Discrimination Against Persons with Disabilities Prohibition Act. Today, there is an act that protects people with disabilities from discrimination and harmful practices. We are concerned with getting the act implemented. Implementing the act means that all line ministries, departments, and agencies of the federal government will have their role and responsibilities in this act. The Disability Roundtable on implementation of the Disability Act is aimed at drawing the attention of line ministries on their role and responsibilities. You have seen some of the remarks that have just came out. Only one ministry made a policy statement on this act, showing that the rest of the ministers that are here present know next to nothing about this act. We owe ourselves the obligation to lead them in this process. That is why we are here, to ensure that the federal government of Nigeria implement the Disability Act to the letter. The World Bank and World Health Organization report 2011 states that international population is about 15% of the national population. What that means is that if you times 15% of international population living with disability, compare it with 200 million Nigerians with disability, you discover that we are looking at about 30 million Nigerians. But plus minus, we are saying that more than 25 million Nigerians are living with disability, recognizing that Nigeria is a country with high level of poor people. Poverty causes disability, and disability causes poverty. Appreciating the fact that what is happening in the Northeast and other communities where there is insurgency, where there is communal clashes, where there is banditry, incidents of disability are occurring. The challenge we have is that the agencies that are responsible in gathering data around these issues are not doing enough in giving Nigerians the data on people with disabilities at it occurs. Every time there is insurgency, every time there is disaster, every time there is banditry, every time there is any harm occasioned by either natural or otherwise, apart from the casualties, federal government of Nigeria always shy away from telling Nigerians the number of people that suffer disability. Whereas beyond the casualties, the rest are people who suffer disability. We also are aware that we have more than 50 million Nigerians that have one mental disability or the other. The Ministry of Health told us that. So if you look at mental health disability, look at physical, sensory and others, you discover that more than 25 million Nigerians have severe disabilities. These are the issues.
Sir, what do you intend to do with the recommendations from this roundtable?
What we are going to do is to catalog these recommendations and begin to pursue it. We've gotten at least 3 different actions we should take in order to get this act budgeted, or federal government budget it. We are going to look at the one that is critical for us to use. Beyond that also, we are going to build the capacity of the media to begin to speak to the content of this act. Because you are our eyes, you are our ears, you are our legs. It is where you go, when you interact with them, when you ask them questions, using disability islands, that will be able to get their commitment and do what we expect them to do in the implementation of this act.
Thank you very much.
Names are Okay Kano. I'm the legal advisor of Abia State Committee, Abia State Advisory Committee on Legal Matters. This roundtable has been able to highlight many aspects, as a matter of fact, going by the provisions of the bill, of the act. For instance, we have been able to sensitize the line ministries that have responsibilities in this regard. For instance, we have mentioned the need for awareness creation, which is within the purview of the Federal Ministry of Information and the National Orientation Agency, which is a parastatal under it. So awareness is very important, because people can only act based on what they are aware of. A lot of people don't know much about disability issues or disability matters. They saw disabled persons, all they can do is to maybe express pity. It ends there. That is not what it should be. There are certain things, rights, as embodied in that act, that should be accorded disabled persons. For instance, right of access to physical infrastructure. Those who are now building should know that disabled persons have a right of access to such structures. So when the right necessary awareness is not created, people will continue to build the way they have been building. Somebody erecting building today, you don't even care that a disabled person may also one day want to have access to it. For instance, this is a hotel where we are. We have come here today for this program. Not that way, this is also a place that disabled persons should have access to. But if we don't have access to such, then we cannot enjoy the facility like others. So awareness creation is there. Then you talk of situations. There are many situations of risk. When you have your when you find ourselves in emergency situations, do you consider that there are disabled persons should be given preference in terms of evacuation? People who cannot help themselves, they have that right to be taken care of first before any other person. Like parking in reservation in parking lots. Disabled persons should have the act provides that they have right to parking lot space. For instance, where we are now, if you don't have a parking space allocated to disabled person, you come in driving your car, there's no way you can park. And the greatest problem you have is to park in a distance and then start trekking in. I learned that in Dennis. For me to reach here, I couldn't trek. I had to enter a taxi to come here. So such are the realities of disability, which we cannot run away from. So the bill, the act has made that provision that there should be allocated to disabled persons parking space in the parking lot. And anybody that parks his vehicle there, his or her vehicle there, contravenes the act and will bear the necessary consequences. And many others. There are many, employment, we have mentioned it. For a disabled person to have employment, I consider employment as a rehabilitation tool. Like I said in the presentation, a disabled person that doesn't have employment is suffering double jeopardy, because your responsibilities in the society doesn't decrease because you're a disabled person. If you are married, you still have a responsibility to your family. And then when you are not employed and you have a limited areas of employment, things you can do, a physically able person can go and then find himself doing other things in order to raise money to make ends meet. Not so with disabled persons. So that is why employment is very, very critical. There are many.